the home of Hollywood, a real-life disaster movie.
In less than 24 hours, the neighborhood gone, leveled, disappeared. I mean, it's ashes and rubble.
The level of destruction here is something I have never seen before.
Fires fanned by tornado-strength winds rampaging across the hills of Los Angeles.
This just looks like a war zone.
Entire towns reduced to ash.
This is literally where I live, everything. The market I shop in, the schools my kids go to.
The defense has been brave, but in some areas, futile.
Have you seen conditions like this before?
I personally have not. I haven't seen it like this. We're running out of water.
This is how the City of Angels became one of fire, smoke, and ashes. As the East Coast battled a deep freeze at the start of this week, America's West Coast was braced not for snow or ice, but wind. Forecasters warned that gusts of up to 100 miles an hour would soon be howling through the hills of Southern California, and people there know from bitter experience that with wind comes fire. By Tuesday afternoon, hundreds of acres of hillside were alight, the smoke visible from Los Angeles city centre, and to the president, who cancelled his engagements to monitor the rapidly escalating emergency. Few expected the scale of destruction which occurred that night.
With ferocious winds at times approaching 100 miles per hour, suburbs like Altadena were facing an inferno overnight. More than 2,000 firefighters are battling as many as 5 separate wildfires. Flames consuming hundreds of homes. Embers are being blown more than a mile by the strong Santa Ana winds coming out of the desert of the American West and finding the fuel in California's parched vegetation.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Many left it to the very last minute to flee, escaping with nothing more than the clothes they were wearing.
I'm sorry, bro. I'll get out of here.
Emerging to find trees on fire as entire neighborhoods were surrounded by flame.
You gonna be okay, all right? You're gonna be okay.
Others decided to stay put and faced a nightmare, unsure if they or their homes would survive. This is a community we encountered this afternoon at the foot of the hills that lead to Pacific Palisades. Not a single structure remains intact.
These are oceanside communities that never stood a chance. These high winds, which are still swirling all around me, and then combine that with those flying embers. I mean, just look at the destruction around me. And then combine that too with the bone-dry ground, and you understand why that was such a lethal combination. Like in so much of Southern California, the winter rains here never arrived.
We encountered 2 young men who had arrived to assess the homes of some of their friends. Both were stunned by a night that had turned a paradise that overlooked the Pacific Ocean into a scene of such utter devastation.
It's devastating, you know. The Pacific Palisades is just a community. We have a lot of friends up there, family too, and it's devastating.
I mean, this is just terrifying. Looks like a war zone, and it just overnight, everything's just taken out, you know? And I don't even know what to say.
We have well over 5,000 acres that have burned, and the fire is growing. We have no percentage of containment.
In Pasadena, a nursing home had to be evacuated. 95 frail residents taken out just in time. On famous Sunset Boulevard, diggers were being used to clear dozens of cars abandoned by their owners as the flames approached. The apocalyptic sunrise over Los Angeles today is a reminder this is far from over, as the city now faces what officials are describing as one of the most terrifying moments in Los Angeles history.
By Wednesday, over 100,000 people had fled their homes, unsure if they'd have anything to return to. On the ground, the fires leapt from street to street, house to house.
So this is just one street, Haverford Avenue in Pacific Palisades. Some of the homes long lost to the fire. Others can still be saved. These are magnificent properties overlooking the Pacific Ocean. But then, just a few meters on, you see the real hellscape taking place here, because here a number of properties and structures have been lost. And the embers are the risk, because they're flying. In fact, just here to our left is a house that is just ignited in the last few minutes since I arrived here. Embers landing on that roof. Another property facing total destruction.
The climatic conditions were perfect. California had an unseasonably dry year. Its hillsides a tinderbox waiting for a spark.
Last summer was LA's hottest on record. That's been followed by a rainy season which has only seen 4% of the normal rainfall, leading to tinderbox dry conditions. There's also an unusually strong Santa Ana wind, which is drying the ground further and fanning the flames from the mountains towards the valleys where people live. After decades of drought, recent years, actually the weather has been wetter. Look at the hills surrounding the Palisades in 2022. Look how brown they were. Fast forward to 2023, and we can see it is a lot greener. With the dry conditions now, those green grasses and shrubs have become fuel for this fire.
The worst fires in the city's history paid no respect to the reputations of those in their way. Celebrities were among the hundreds of thousands forced to flee.
We are just starting to hear about the number of celebrities who have lost their multi-million-dollar homes in the Palisades fire. We can tell you that Paris Hilton's Malibu mansion burned to the ground, and so did the homes of actors Billy Crystal, Eugene Levy, John Goodman, Cameron Matheson.
I made it up to my street, and then when it kind of came into our stretch of the houses, it was just totally decimated. Like there was many, as you saw in the video, houses and then fires and houses and fires. But our street, in particular, our block, I should say, was pretty much nothing left. It looked like, in many cases, there was no houses ever built there.
This is literally where I live. Everything. The market I shop in, the schools my kids go to, friends, many friends now have lost their homes.
The fire service has been stretched beyond its limits, the city's water supply unable to keep up with demand.
What makes this so challenging? Is it the wind?
The winds. The winds and the water.
What's the problem with the water?
We're running out of water.
It has sparked a political fire. Donald Trump eager to point the finger of blame at his political opponents.
This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water.
In just days, though, it will be his job to work with the state's leaders to rebuild Los Angeles, and what a challenge they face. As firefighters try to wrestle back control on Thursday, the scale of destruction became clear.
At first, on the road into Pacific Palisades, we witnessed the aftermath of the wildfire. A shocking journey through destruction. And then it quickly becomes clear this fire is still consuming homes and businesses all along Sunset Boulevard. The scenes we encountered make it abundantly clear the mandatory evacuation orders saved hundreds, perhaps thousands of lives. And from the air, the scale of the tragedy becomes starker still. These are entire neighborhoods that have been lost to the flames. Haverford Avenue is just one street. Here, the firefighters we meet are making a last stand, under-resourced, facing strong winds, trying to save what they can.
Save this one right here. You're going to try and save it. Good luck.
The residents have all left.
Look at this building's about to go down here.
But James has briefly returned to see the scale of the disaster.
In less than 24 hours, the neighborhood gone, leveled, disappeared. The whole neighborhood is ashes and rubble. Gone.
Have you seen
And
anything
nothing.
like this?
No, never in my life. I mean, it's shocking.
It's just devastating, absolutely unbelievable.
Nearby, we meet Ray Church, a British plumber who moved here 40 years ago. And his small business and a lifetime of work has been wiped out. Even the name of his company scorched and barely legible.
Your emotion when you first came here and saw this?
I was in tears with still choked up with my daughter right now. It's, it's a lot of hard work building a business, and seeing this, it's tough, very tough.
You better take pictures of the house right now.
For residents who are daring to go back just to glimpse what they have lost, the emotion is overwhelming. From one of the most desirable locations to live in America, this is now a hellscape. And a new fire gained traction last night. This time in Hollywood Hills. The nightmare for Los Angeles is far from over.
We are very much in an active firefight. More people may get evacuation orders, and if they do, please leave immediately.
It is safe to say that the Palisades fire is one of the most destructive natural disasters in the history of Los Angeles.
The great city that lies between the Pacific Ocean and the San Gabriel Mountains has long feared another earthquake. But this tragedy came from the desert winds and from sparks that ignited an inferno.
As winds drop, the fires will eventually be tackled, but it'll be days, even weeks, until the last flame is extinguished. And it'll take much longer to rebuild the thousands of homes and lives destroyed.